नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जया उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवते सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 1st chapter, we will read verse 61, 62 and 63. Okay, so all of you will read verse 63. Krishna Chaitanya. So keep your hands raised for verse number 63 and I will read the rest of them. दृष्ट्वा तां कामलिप्तेन बाहुना परिरम्भितां जगाम हृच्छया वासं सहसैवा विमोहितः. Tishtva, by seeing, Tam, her the prostitute, Kama Liptena, decorated with turmeric to incite lusty desires, Bahuna, with the arms, Parirambhitam, embraced, Jagam, burnt, Hare Krishna, Hirtisaya, of lusty desires within the heart, Vasam, under the control, Sahasa, suddenly, Eva, indeed, Vimohitaha, being illusioned. Translation by His Divine Grace Shabbat Ki Jai. The Shudra, his arm decorated with turmeric powder, was embracing the prostitute. When Ajamil saw her, the dormant lusty desires in his heart awakened, and in illusion he fell under their control. Purport by His Divine Grace Shabbat Ki Jai. It is said that, Hare Krishna, if one's body is smeared with turmeric, it attracts the lusty desires of the opposite sex. The word Kama Liptena indicates that the Shudra was decorated with turmeric smeared on his body. Verse 62. Stambhayam atma anatmanam yavat sattvam yatha shrutam na shashaka samadhutam mano madana vepitam. Stambhayan, trying to control, atmana, by the intelligence, atmanam, the mind, yavat sattvam, as far as possible for him. Yatha shrutam, by remembering the instruction of celibacy, brahmacharya, not even to see a woman. Not Shashak was able, Samadhatum, to restrain. Mana, the mind, Madana Vepitam, agitated by cupid or lusty desire. Translation by His Divine Grace Shabbat Ki Jai. As far as possible, he patiently tried to remember the instructions of the Shastras, not even to see a woman. With the help of this knowledge and his intellect, he tried to control his lusty desires. Krishna, but because of the force of Cupid within his heart, he failed to control his mind. Purport by His Divine Grace Shabbat Ki Jai. Unless one is very strong in knowledge, patience, and proper bodily, mental, and intellectual behavior, controlling one's lusty desires is extremely difficult. Thus, after seeing a man embracing a young woman and practically doing everything required for sex life, even a fully qualified Brahman, as described above, could not control his lusty desires and restrain himself for pursuing them. Because of the force of materialistic life, to maintain self-control is extremely difficult unless one is specifically under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service. तन्निमित्तस्मर व्याजा गृहाग्रस्तो विचेतनः ताम एवा मनसा ध्यायन् स्वधर्माद् विररामः. Okay, Vijay Kumari Mataji, Hare Krishna, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranab Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tam Nimitta Smara Vijaya Kraha Kristo Visedanaha. Tam Eva Manasa Dhyayan Siva Swa Dharmat Vira Ramaha. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Repti Ratnangi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tannimitta Smara Vyaja Grahasto Vichidanaha Tameva Manasa Dhyayan Swadharma Viraramaha. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Chitra Mohini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तन्निमित्ता स्वर व्याज ग्रहग्रस्तो विचेतनः तामेव मनसा ध्यायान् स्वधर्मादि विररामः। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू माता जी।
Hare Krishna. Venkat Narasimha Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। तन्निमित्त स्मर्वयाज ग्रहग्रस्तो विचेतनः तामेव मनसा ध्यायान् स्वधर्मात् विररामः। हरे कृष्ण माताजी।
Thank you. Usha Bhatt Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, प्रणाम माताजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तन्निमित्त स्मर व्याजा ग्रहग्रस्तो विचेतनः तामेव मनसा ध्यायन् स्वधर्माद्विररामः। थैंक यू माताजी। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Shubha Rao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
Anabhina.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तन्निमित्त स्मर व्याजग्रह ग्रस्तो विचेतसः तामेव मनसा ध्यायन् सधर्माद्विररामः। हरे कृष्ण।
Krishna. Pran Nandini Madhvi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, प्रणाम माताजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तन्निमित्त स्मर व्याज ग्रहग्रस्तो विचेतनः तम एव मनसा ध्यायम् स्वधर्मद् विररामः। हरे कृष्ण माताजी, थैंक यू माताजी।
Krishna. Madhumati Vilasni Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम माताजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ततनिमित्त स्मर व्याज ग्रह ग्रहस्थः विचेतनः तामेव मनसा ध्यायन स्वधर्मात् विररामः। थैंक यू माताजी। हरे कृष्ण।
Usha Devati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तन्निमित्त स्मर व्याज ग्रह गृहस्थ विचेतनः तम एव मनसा ज्ञायन् स्वधर्मान् विररामः। थैंक यू माता जी। हरे कृष्ण।
Krishna. Pushpa Yashomati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तन्निमित्र स्मरव्यज ग्रह ग्रहस्थो विसेतनः तामेव मनसा ध्यायन् स्वधर्मात् विररामः। हरे कृष्ण माता जी, थैंक यू माता जी।
Thank you. Uttama Padma Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तन्निमित्त स्मरा व्याजा ग्रहग्रस्तो विचेतनः तामेव मनसा ध्यायन् सधर्माद् विररामः। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you, Hare Krishna. That nimitta caused by the sight of her. Smaravyaja taking advantage of his thinking of her always. Griha grahastha being caught by an eclipse. Vichetanaha having completely forgotten his real position. Tam her eva certainly. Manasa by the mind. Dhyayan meditating upon. Swadharmat from the regulatory principles executed by a Brahman. Viraramaha he completely ceased. Translation by His Divine Grace Sharva Shabad Ki Jai. In the same way that the sun and moon are eclipsed by a low planet, the Brahman lost all his good sense. Taking advantage of this situation, he always thought of the prostitute, and within a short time he took her as a servant in his house and abandoned all the regulatory principles of a Brahman. Puppet by His Divine Grace Shabad Ki Jai. By speaking this verse, Sukdev Goswami wants to impress upon the mind of the reader that Ajamil's exalted position as a Brahmin was vanquished by his association with the prostitute, so much so that he forgot all his Brahminical activities. Nevertheless, at the end of his life, by chanting the 4 syllables of the name Narayan, he was saved from the gravest danger of falling down. Swalpamapiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little devotional service can save one from the greatest danger. Devotional service, which begins with chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is so powerful that even if one falls down from the exalted position of a Brahmin through sexual indulgence, he can be saved from all calamities if somehow or other chants, if he somehow or other chants the holy name of the Lord. This is the extraordinary power of the Lord's holy name. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, it is advised that one not forget the chanting of the holy name even for a moment. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatatant, oh Krishna, yatatancha dhridavritaha. There are so many dangers in this material world that one may fall down from an exalted position at any time. Yet if one keeps himself always pure and steady by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he will be safe without a doubt. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं हे कृष्णा करुणसिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रियै जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा शिव सादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. All right, so let's read the translations one more time. 61, 62, 63. The Shudra, his arm decorated with turmeric powder, was embracing the prostitute. When Ajamil saw her, the dormant lusty desires in his heart awakened, and in illusion he fell under their control. As far as possible, he patiently tried to remember the instructions of the Shastras, not to even see a woman. With the help of this knowledge and his intellect, he tried to control his lusty desires, but because of the force of Cupid within his heart, he failed to control his mind. In the same way that the sun and moon are eclipsed by a low planet, the Brahmin lost all his good sense. Taking advantage of this situation, he always thought of the prostitute, and within a short time he took her as a servant in his house and abandoned all the regulatory principles of a Brahmin. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, which is called as the prescribed duties of the mankind. Chapter number 1, which is called as what? Do you still remember the history of the
Life of Ajamila.
Life of Ajamil.
the history of the life of Ajamil? And we are studying now towards the end of the chapter, where we are studying that how Ajamil actually fell down in the so in how Ajamil actually fell down, and it is the beginning of the pastime is by praising his qualities, that he was indeed born to a Brahmin father, and he was indeed getting trained in the Brahminical qualities from a very young age. So, and he was a very gentle-hearted human being, and did not envy anyone, and was very respectful towards everybody. And he was very obedient to his father's orders. So he had gone to the forest to collect flowers, 2 kinds of grass, leaves, for the worship of the Shaligram. But then when he was returning, he saw a sight where a Shudra and Shudrani who were intoxicated were embracing and singing and kissing. And then that's when he saw that sight, he got, his consciousness got agitated. And then this is a further description of that when he got agitated, there are more details, they're like they're singing, their eyes are rolling, they're hugging each other, there's turmeric on the arms of one of them. So Sukdev Goswami, you see, even acharyas try to get the zest of it. Okay, there's always an external part of Krishna consciousness, there's always an internal part of Krishna consciousness. So Sukdev Goswami is describing this scene in a great detail, and Sukdev Goswami is a Nashtiki Brahmachari. Sukdev Goswami has nothing to do with the descriptions of any of these kind of scenarios from his point of view, but he's describing it. Who is it describing it for? He's describing it for us. He's describing it for a conditioned soul who gets attracted to these things. So he's highlighting, this is a sign of a good teacher. A good teacher teaches in many different ways. They adopt many different methodologies to press upon a point. So in this particular point, when he's describing that how Jamil fell down, he's going in the details because then we can also get rid of this hard knot in our heart. Right? The attraction with the opposite gender is the root cause of the material existence. Right? Just Prabhupada says that. I'm not saying this. Brad Maharaj says this too, right? What does he say? Yanme thunadi grihame di sukham hi tuchham, right? So they say that. I'm not saying, I'm just repeating what has been said. So when a teacher like Sukadeva Goswami is describing a little nitty-gritty details, he could have just mentioned that there was this hugging and going on, but he's going in the details, is because we have these hard knot in our heart, and they actually open up these knots by describing these things. That see, all these activities are so menial. See what is going to happen now. Okay, he where he was on his path of developing exalted Brahminical qualities, and where he is now, where his lusty desires are so agitated that he is trying. So basically, he knows that what he's thinking is not the right thing. That's why he is trying to do otherwise. He is trying to possibly remember the instructions of the Shastras by the control of his intellect, his knowledge. What is the problem here? He is trying to control his lusty desires by concentrating with the help of the knowledge of the Shastras that he remembered and his intellect. What is the problem here? What is the first point of fall down here? Anybody can say? What is the catch here? What's the catch? Yes, Mataji.
I think, Mataji, it is like the downfall that is described in the second chapter. Dhyato Vishyan Punsa Sangaste Shupajayate. So basically, he's meditating on that scene again and again. So because of that association with that thought, he's falling down.
Yeah, thank you. So the problem, thank you, Mataji. So that's a technical description of what's happening in psychological level. The problem is that he is not discussing it with another devotee. Okay, he's relying on his knowledge, his memory, his intellect. So that's a warning for us. Don't rely on you. We must not rely on our own knowledge, our own intellect, our own memory, because it is all agitated. When so many things are agitated, we will not be able to get the good verdict out of it. So this is the problem here. That if he would have gone and revealed his mind in confidence to a devotee or a higher placed devotee, then the devotee, on the verdict of their own purity of practice of Krishna consciousness, would have given that strength that was required by that particular personality at that time. That is why association is so important. Okay, so please carry this forward in the life, that if we come across any such agitations, not necessarily in the form of seeing other people hugging each other, but it could be anything. Money is an allurement, fame is an allurement, anything, knowledge is an allurement, right? So what do? Do we just rely on our own intellect, our own knowledge, our own memory of the Shastras? No. Reveal it to the devotees. I cannot tell you how much it is helpful. The other devotee who is higher than us, or at that point, and everybody is actually higher than us in the practice of Krishna consciousness, but specifically a sincere devotee who is higher than us in that placement, go and reveal that mind, agitated mind, and then we get that strength. The devotee has this ability. That devotee is not agitated, has an ability to give it. So that's the first fall down. A loneliness means inviting danger in Krishna consciousness. And we can talk about so many things. We can talk about this Cupid in the heart was attacking or shooting arrows, and then he could not control. But Krishna is Madan Mohan, and Radharani's Madan, Mohan, Mohini. That's the intellect. That's the intellectual part of understanding. But in such scenarios, intellectual part doesn't help. It's like if somebody is going to commit a suicide. Okay, they may be standing at the edge of a cliff and they're going to commit a suicide. Is their own mind and their own strength enough to save them from not jumping off the cliff, or somebody else is needed to pull them back? Tell me.
Yes, someone
What
else
will
is
be more
needed.
effective?
Yes, Mataji.
Someone else is needed, Mataji.
Somebody else who is not in that particular thought scenario is needed to pull that person back, right? What are you going to do? Like that, we also need that. Somebody else is needed to pull us out. That what are you going to do? But we cannot. So don't try it, because it's unless and until we are very highly placed, like Prabhupada is saying, right? That unless one is very strong in knowledge, patience, proper bodily, mental, intellectual behavior, controlling one's lusty desires is extremely difficult. So don't play. Don't play around with the agitations in the mind. Better to reveal it to a devotee and ask for strength. If we keep it inside, then what happens? Then this happened. Then as the moon and sun and moon are eclipsed by lower planet, he lost all his good sense, took advantage, always thought of the prostitute. So the mind gets, because there's eclipse, so we cannot see clearly, we cannot think clearly. So everything becomes clouded and the lust becomes very prominent. In a garden which is not kept properly, the weeds take over. Right? There's so many analogies that can be given. The weeds take over that particular garden, or the body which is not kept well or clean, the diseases take over, right? So like that, the consciousness which is not fed, or which is not actually now given the injection of vaccination from someone else's elevated consciousness, the lusty desires or these kind of thoughts will take over. And then what will happen? Then dhyate vishan punsa sanghasa sanjayate kama. So then what happens? Then our thoughts, our desires define our actions, and then our actions define our destiny. So and the actions also become our habit in a way. So he took over that lady in a very short time, so much so that he actually he abandoned all his the regulatory principles as a Brahmin. He thought they were useless, and satisfying the lust was the most important thing. This is a story of one Ajamil. How many of such individuals are there right now across the world? Maximum, mostly. So there's no point in finding fault everywhere. The point is that one must give the faith in chanting of the holy name, because that is the only way out. This is one Ajamil who who was being trained, who had a chance at least early in the life. But nowadays, the children are exposed to everything from a very young age, right? Through the dark web or through the dark world of internet, because their mind does not know the discrimination. So they don't have a sense of good or bad. The caretakers, if they are also not well behaved and well controlled, and are trying to become a devotee of Krishna, it is going to be a havoc. And this is what is happening. There is no mercy, there is no compassion, there is no affection. There is only exploitation. Like, what can I get from it? What is there in it for me? As if I'm going to live here for forever. But that's not going to happen. I'm going to die. Before death, if we are able to stick to the vow of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, of following the regulatory principles, of cultivating the compassion for the fallen, for ourselves first, and then for everyone else across the world, then we have a chance. And these desires will come and go, but they don't agitate. And the example given in the Shastras is that of a ocean. There's a verse also like this in Bhagavad Gita, like as the ocean, as the many rivers are flowing into the ocean and the ocean doesn't get agitated, like that the mind of a self-controlled entity A self-controlled soul does not get agitated by the desires which are entering. So the thing is, it's not that the desires are not there. The desires are there, but they don't leave an impact. It's like, for example, if somebody is carrying a very good umbrella, they may be walking in the rain, but they will not be impacted by it so much. Even better if somebody is driving in a car, they will not get impacted at all. How much rain? It's not that the rain is not there. The rain is there, but it's not going to impact. Okay, so it's not that we're not going to get stimulated, we're not gonna see all these things, or we're not gonna think about it, because it is our own burden, basically, because we are carrying it for so many lifetimes. But we will not get moved by it. Our consciousness will remain fixed. Sitha pragna, right? We remain fixed in that particular consciousness. And how will this happen? Cannot happen alone. Don't try it. We end up becoming Jamil again. So it is very important to keep that empowering association. Otherwise, a havoc can happen. One decision can change the destiny. Either the whole life sometimes is changed by one decision. The whole life. I have seen so many people in my life. That's one wrong decision. The children, they go out biking in the summer and they don't wear the helmet, and somehow some of them, like we see in the hospital, they meet a very like dangerous trauma on the road. One wrong decision, the whole life is changed. One wrong decision. Or so many children, they overdose themselves in the heat of the moment, and then the drugs or whatever they overdose in sometimes leave lifelong impact. I'm giving these examples because this is important. Like, I had a child once that had drank the bleach which is used to wash the toilet. One wrong decision and whole life is changed. The whole life was changed. It's not that she died, but she can never put a water drop down her mouth now. She has to be dependent on the tubes because the esophagus got so erosive. So one wrong decision. Learn. Our best way of learning is to hear. And then hearing also, and we're experiencing also, right? We're seeing people around us. So as we age, our consciousness will tell us which direction we are going. Have you ever seen a child? Like a child, almost all the children, don't they look very innocent up to a certain age? Almost all of them,
Yes.
right? They look innocent, right or no? Have you ever seen a child who does not look innocent? Born and baby, like 2 month old, 4 month old. Have you ever seen somebody who does not look innocent?
No.
No.
Mataji.
But as the same individual grows, they start like acquiring these modes of nature and picking up stuff, and then the innocence is kept at the bay. So like my friend Chiti Shakti, she says that we don't have to die to see where we are going, because we can see it right now. Yeah, we can see that as we age, we can see, from our face is the index of the mind. We can see that, is this particular person is leading a satisfactory life? Is this particular person's heart is satisfied? Or is this person is like filled with questions and unfulfilled desires? What kind of life is one leading? So what I'm trying to say is that all this feeds into our existence now and our existence later on. Okay, so and all these Brahminical qualities will have to, be kept at pause, because both things cannot go at the same time. This is another lesson. I cannot be Krishna conscious and be materialistic at the same time. It's not going to work. So he had to drop his regulative principles of Brahman to satisfy his materialistic desires. So like that, if I am going towards Krishna consciousness, then my materialistic desires will automatically curb if I'm getting more and more serious. Prabhupada says that Jamil was a neophyte devotee. So are we, right? So are we. But so if we are trying to find a balance between material life and spiritual life, it doesn't exist. it doesn't exist. Either one exists. Actually, material life doesn't even exist. It is floating. It's temporary. It is always changing. Spiritual life is steady. So if we are trying to say, okay, I'm going to balance, I'm going to really balance it out, it's not going to happen because Krishna hasn't planned it in that manner. So then prioritize. Prioritize Krishna consciousness in your life everywhere. Bring it everywhere, not just, chanting a couple of hours a day or listening to a class or reading the Shastras. No, wherever you go, take it. You go to your kitchen, take it. You go to your work, take that consciousness with you. Okay, you come back to your relatives, to your family members, come back with it. And if nobody is Krishna conscious around you, it doesn't matter because your consciousness will actually be enough. The question is, are you trying to be Krishna conscious or not? And then everything else falls in place according to what we are trying to be. Vaishashika Prabhu says that in material life, um, attention goes where consciousness flows. So what are we paying most attention to most of the day? Catch it. And that's where my consciousness is going. What is it that's most important? My attention is going inside. Is it going towards my family? Is it going towards my wealth? Is it going towards my sadhana? Is it going towards my, work? Is it going towards my house? Is it going towards my health? Where is it going? Is it going towards my anxieties, my fears, or whatever it is? That's where consciousness is flowing. Catch it. Okay, catch it, discuss it with the devotees that you can rely on, work on it. This is a good time so that we can always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. That is our aim of life. Understand, Sukdev Goswami is not reciting it just for the sake of reciting it. There's a deeper meaning in there. Okay, I think I'll stop here. So we learned that Jamil saw that and he took that impression, the photographic impression in his memory, and he did not discuss it out. He didn't discuss it with anyone. He relied on his own intellect, his own remembrance of the Shastras, his own ability to restrain, but then everything had to give in. And he lost his Brahminical qualities. And in order to fulfill the materialistic desires, he had to give up his practice. Prabhu, go ahead, please. Prem Prakash Adas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The Sararth Darshini of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains in just 3 sentences, but they are very wonderfully placed, and analysis looks so perfect and nice. So I thought of sharing it. He could not protect himself from falling by jnana or by his steadiness in dharma, but he attained Vaikuntha after restoring himself by Namabhasha alone. This shows the comparison between the strength of dharma, jnana, and bhakti.
Very nice.
I think very, very wonderfully said and very nicely analyzed. So jnana and dharma both miserably failed and failed so quickly, though he was strictly attached to it. But only a small nama bhasa, that also is not Shuddha Nama, protected him back.
Yes. The holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is our only hope. Yes. Thank you. Thank you
That's
for
why
sharing.
the sloka is there, Mataji, Gnana Karma Dhanavrutam Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam.
Yeah. Anyabhilashita Shunyam. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else for complaints?